Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our District 3 Parent and Community Advisory Session. We are so excited to welcome everyone to join us tonight. I am Dr. Sheila Jackson, Director of our Department of Family and Community Partnerships. It gives us so much pleasure to welcome each and every one of you from District 3 to meet our interim superintendent, to ask questions, to share your comments as he shares information with us. So to get us started, I'm going to invite Dr. Jennifer Love to introduce our interpretation services.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Interpreting services. Servicios de interpretación. Service d'interprétation. La interpretación simultánea está disponible esta noche en español. L'interprétation simultanée est disponible en français. Interpreting services are available in Spanish and available in French. Please see the interpretation globe. En una computadora, en la parte baja de la pantalla, habrá un globo de interpretación. Haga clic en ese globo y seleccione Spanish o francés, French. En un dispositivo móvil, en la parte baja de la pantalla, toca el icono de elipsis en la parte baja derecha. Toque Language Interpretation, toque Spanish o toque French. Gracias, merci.
Thank you so much, Dr. Love. And we hope that everyone has an opportunity that needs interpretation services to go right into those rooms now. We will continue with our welcome by first asking everyone to please sign in. There is a QR code that you can scan with your with your phone, excuse me, to make sure that we can capture who is actually here in our audience tonight. We like to get you to sign in because that contact information will give us an opportunity to make sure that we invite you to other family engagement opportunities throughout the school year. So please take a moment to scan that QR code and sign in now. Thank you. Next slide. As we work together in Prince George's County Public Schools, we always like to share norms to guide us in our conversations and our interactions. We ask that everyone tonight please practice mutual respect, engage transparently, listen for understanding, assume positive intentions, and that all of our work is about establishing the best interests for our students. And we ask everyone to please offer suggestions as you learn about our opening and our new interim superintendent so that we can make sure that we're making suggestions to help Prince George's County Public Schools improve. So thank you so very much for honoring our norms as we continue. We also would like to share some additional things that we need to know. Tonight's session is being recorded. That will make it available for those who are unable to join us for District 3 tonight. We want you to know that chat will not be available in this webinar. However, you will be able to interact with the superintendent by using the Q&A feature to submit questions. There will be staff who are monitoring the Q&A box to make sure that all questions that you ask will be shared directly with our interim superintendent for live response. And those you see at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A box. You can touch on that and it'll give you an opportunity to type in your question. If you have additional questions or comments that you want to make, we also have a live Google Doc that you can utilize to put other information in that you think is important for our superintendent to know. So let me give you a moment to access both of those modules. Next slide. Again, if you want to submit a question, click on the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. It might be hidden under More on your computer, so click on More if you don't see a Q&A box already. Type in your question. You have the option to send your question anonymously or just send it, and it'll go into that portal. We have staff who will be monitoring that, making sure that our superintendent gets a chance to answer your questions tonight. Hopefully everyone has found the Q&A box. Next slide. As we go ahead and get started, this is our agenda for tonight. We want to make sure that we have covered what we call our housekeeping at the beginning. If you have questions still, though, please use the Q&A box to ask questions about how the meeting is progressing tonight. We also want to invite you to use that again if you have any direct questions based upon what you hear tonight or any thoughts that you have. Please use the Q&A box so that we can make sure those questions are answered. At 6:15, our interim superintendent, Dr. Sean Joseph, will take over our meeting to share information. And after he speaks to us, we will open up a window for questions and answers. So we wanted to give at least a half an hour to answer any questions that are posed to us tonight. We'll talk about what comes next after tonight in our school system, and then we will close and we ask everyone to complete our evaluation at the end. Your feedback is so important to us. It helps us in our system to become better. And we grow, we perform better when we communicate and receive input from you. So thank you all. And at this point, I would like to welcome our interim superintendent, Dr. Sean Joseph.
Well, hello. Thank you so much, Dr. Jackson, and welcome, District 3. It's amazing to be here with you all, tonight. I'm so excited to talk with the powerful District 3. I know there's such rich history here, and I know our board member, Mrs. Pam Boozer Struther, is with us today. So I want to give her an opportunity to say hello. And I know, again, she does amazing work advocating for you all. And I'm so appreciative to be working with you, Ms. Boozer Struthers. And thank you for all that you do for this amazing district. I want to give you an opportunity to welcome your constituents, of course.
All right, I appreciate that. Thanks for the warm welcome, Dr. Joseph, and so happy to be here. And I want to thank Dr. Jackson for her facilitation and Dr. Love and the team who are interpreting. I am Pamela Boozer Struther. I am the Board of Education member for District 3, but also a parent of a Northwestern High School 10th grader. And I extend my appreciation to Interim Superintendent Joseph for scheduling this virtual session to hear from PGCPS parents, students, and staff, as well as community leaders and residents that live in the many municipalities and neighborhoods of District 3. District 3 has a strong tradition of parent engagement, as Dr. Joseph has already shown he's well aware of, in our advocating for positive systemic change in PGCPS, as well as for our individual school communities. And many of you who have joined this evening have given many hours of your volunteer time as parent and community leaders to implement solutions that support our students, families, and staff. So tonight is just the first of many opportunities to come together to continue this productive partnership with Dr. Joseph and the Board of Education. So again, thank you for being here. And I look forward to seeing all of you at back to school events and when we return to school on August 26th. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. And as Mrs. Boozer Struthers shared, I know of the energy that you have in District 3 and the love that you have for your schools and the engagement. So I too look forward to visiting your schools and supporting you. But a little bit about, myself. I actually, gosh, I was here in from 2014 to 2016 as the deputy superintendent for teaching and learning. But I actually started my career um, in Montgomery County. I got there as an English teacher after spending some time at Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. And I was actually a biology major at Lincoln University into my junior year. So I met a student from South Philadelphia High School. His name was Gary, who struggled reading. And, I was supposed to be tutoring calculus that summer for an Upward Bound program. But we had a bunch of science folks hired and they asked, would anybody tutor English? And I just felt like what easy money I'm going to make here, helping someone, write a paper than trying to explain the derivative of a function. And what happened there, I mean, literally changed my life. I mean, because I met a student who struggled reading and I wasn't used to that. Like I thought everybody, could read. But Gary struggled. And I remember speaking to Herschel Bailey was the head of Upward Bound at Lincoln. And, he said to me at that moment back in 1994 that lots of children in America struggle reading, particularly in urban districts. And I remember I felt like that was one of the first times God spoke to me because I didn't understand how do we put people on the moon and not teach children how to read in this country, particularly English language learners, particularly students of color, particularly students who don't come from a lot of money, because I know from my personal experiences that an education can be transformative. And if you get a good education, you can dream big and really do whatever you want to do in life. And so, I struggled with not knowing what to do with Gary that summer, but it forced me to change my major from biology to English education. So I started my career at Roberto Clemente Middle School in Germantown, Maryland, and I was an English teacher there. And I've been an English teacher. I became a reading specialist. So I went to Johns Hopkins University, and I got a master's in the teaching of reading, just so I could make sure I could address any Gary that I came across for the rest of my life here. But I became a reading specialist. Then I became a team leader at Kingsview Middle School in Germantown. Then I was a dean of students at Benjamin Banneker Middle School in Burtonsville. I became an assistant principal at Redland Middle School in Rockville, Maryland. And then God would have it that he sent me back to Roberto Clemente, but this time as principal. And I was principal there for 4 years and ultimately became the Maryland State Principal of the Year in 2009. And then I got promoted to supervise 34 schools in the Blair, Einstein, Northwood, Kennedy cluster down in Silver Spring. So very close to District 3. I was right there because Blair High School kisses your neighborhood. like we're very close down there. But I supervised those 32 schools in that region for about 4 years before I went off to become a superintendent in a small rural district, Seaford, Delaware. If you've ever gone to Rehoboth Beach down Route 1, you've passed Seaford. It just has 6 schools, a small rural place. But my mentor at the time actually was Kevin Maxwell. And Kevin became superintendent here in Prince George's County and gave me the opportunity of a lifetime to come back and serve as deputy superintendent for teaching and learning. So I did that for just 2 years here before going off to be superintendent of schools in Metro Nashville Public Schools in Nashville, Tennessee. After 3 years of serving as superintendent, I took a job at Fordham University. I'm originally from New York, so flying back and that year again, how life would have it, that year I flew back to Fordham to be a visiting associate professor of educational leadership and policy studies, teaching in the doctoral program Ed Leadership and in policy. My mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, so I had the blessing of that time of my life, quite frankly, was I had a year where I flew back and forth every week and I was able to spend time with my mom, take her through her chemotherapy. She's fully cancer-free now. She's been cancer-free since 2019, 2020, which has been a blessing of my life. She's 83 years old now. But having, the opportunity to go back and forth with her was a gift during that time of transition for me. But then I had the opportunity to come on back to the DMV and become a assistant professor at Howard University in the Ed Leadership and Policy Studies program. So there, I've been working with doctoral students. So I just teach in the doctoral program. It was a politics of education class, which helps me here, of course, in this wonderful place, right? I taught an urban education class, and then I taught an ed tech course. And then I ran an urban superintendent's academy. And over the course of my 5 years there, I've had the blessing of supporting 23 folks who've been superintendents around the country. So that's been my body of work. But the opportunity to come back to Prince George's County in this moment, it was special to me because this was a place where I felt like the work that we had started definitely was not finished. In my time in Prince George's County from 2012 or 2014 to 2016, that's where we launched a number of the programs. I believe the dual immersion programs, we expanded some programs down at Duval High School. That's where we brought in the aerospace engineering program. And I tried to shore up some of those programs. I mean, that was a big initiative in that time, expanding and strengthening our magnet programs. And as the deputy superintendent for teaching and learning, I had a hand in supporting that work. So it was an honor. So to come back now and to be able to support us in this moment of transition has just been it's been joyous over the past few weeks, I should say. So, what I know about District 3 is that, I mean, you serve a very vibrant community. I mean, the Hyattsville community, Adelphi community, the Langley Park community. It's just it's the beauty of the diversity there and the global character of your community is something that I absolutely love. I mean, I know you have about 40% of your students who are identify as either Hispanic or Latino, and many of your schools offer dual language programs and cultural programs that help students connect in a multicultural world. I mean, I loved visiting Cesar Chavez Dual Spanish Immersion, and it stands out as just one of the 8 schools in the United States and Canada recently named as an International Spanish Academy, right? That's a distinction that affirms the school's commitment to biliteracy, academic excellence, cultural fluency through Spanish language instruction and core subjects. And I mean, I think Mount Rainier Elementary School is an absolute gem. I mean, it's a community school that showcases the power of community engagement with parent leaders driving initiatives to improve pedestrian safety and other initiatives. I mean, Buck Lodge, I can remember going through Buck Lodge and it was a pretty school, if I can remember, it was 9 years ago, right? And I know they've worked hard to boost attendance, and that success is paying off. And it was recently named the most improved school for the consistent gains in attendance and engagement. And of course, University Park and Chillam Elementary schools are anchors of your neighborhoods with rich histories, walkable campuses, and strong family partnership. And I know at the high school level, I mean, I used to love going to Northwestern High School. I mean, it's just a large, vibrant school with the Jim Henson Center for Visual Arts there, and the school offers career technical education. I can remember watching the JROTC there with pride, ensuring students graduated with one of the 4 E's, that they were either enrolled in college, employed, enlisted, or focusing on entrepreneurship. Now I know you are in a community where there's lots of overcrowding. And we have experienced significant increases in enrollment in that northern area, including Northwestern High School. And I know in 2030, there are plans for a new northern Adelphi area high school that will relieve some of the overcrowding. The bad news is that should be completed in the fall of 2030 if everything is on target. The good news is that it'll be 2,600 seats there, plus a career technical education hub. So over the course of the next few years, we'll still be experiencing that overcrowding challenge. But no, hope is on the way. That in 2030 we should have a beautiful new school there that can give you some relief. District 3 has also benefited recently from the one of a kind, first of its kind public-private partnership model that we have to modernize our buildings. So I'm thankful for, the previous administrations and the work of our previous county executive, because you're going to have a new Sonia Sotomayor and Hyattsville Middle School, which were both parts of the first phase of Blueprint Schools, which opened in the fall of 2023. And Sotomayor features STEM and STEAM labs, media studios, performance spaces, and grade-specific academic wings. So I'm looking forward to visiting. I've never visited that school before, but I'm really looking forward to visiting it this semester. It was also a sustainable, it was also sustainable in line with our climate action plan, and it's a LEED Silver standard school, which is good. And of course, Hyattsville Middle School is home of a thriving creative and performing arts program. So again, you have amazing schools in your district, schools to be proud of. And we know that there's work to be done. So as we work this year, it's our goal to make sure that you get what you need. We listen, and the community activism that's there, that's what we need throughout the entire school district. Because one of the things I know is we can't have great schools without active involvement. I'm not afraid of demand and people communicating often about their needs. I think things get better when people show up and sometimes show out. So it doesn't bother me. The passion doesn't bother me. It inspires me to help things go right and to get things better. At this point, I'll stop and open it up to some questions you have that I can answer or get back to you on if I can answer.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. We do have a few questions to start us off.
Okay.
Thank you to Sarah Weber. We would like to know from Sarah, she said, can you please share any information on what PGCPS is doing to revise the outdated student cell phone policy, specifically around restricting the use of phones during school hours, as so many other school districts have now done so successfully?
Thank you for that question, Sarah. What I know right now is that across our district, we've been piloting structured cell phone management strategies in selected schools. And these pilots are helping us understand how different approaches to managing cell phone use impact learning in our classrooms. Currently, we've allowed individual schools to implement tailored cell phone policies that meet their specific needs. A survey was issued this spring to help us further listen and learn on this issue and gather input from stakeholders. Our goal has been to strike a balance between embracing technology as a learning tool and minimizing the distractions and dangers that can hinder student success. So right now, it's a conversation that I definitely would like to have with our board. There are states, if you look over in Virginia, there are states that have totally banned cell phones. And it's really because of the distractions and the challenges that it's caused. And the fact is, since the pandemic, we have been one-on-one with technology. So we can give students technology to do what they need to do without having a cell phone per se, and the distraction the cell phone can cause. I think prior to me being here, I think the board and the previous administration has tried to take a pragmatic approach, it seems like, letting people explore, getting feedback. And so I'm sure that will be one of the things we take up early on to clarify. But I have not, the board is out on vacation, for July, but they'll be coming back soon. So of course, I've not taken any action on that, but it'll be a conversation that comes up. So if you have opinions on it, I'm sure the board and I definitely would love to hear what you're thinking about it. And we hope to bring some clarity and resolution to the ambiguity that may exist at the current moment.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. A couple more questions to help us get started as well. Mr. Joseph Jakuta asks us, he says, I'm a parent of 2 students at RGMS and the lead volunteer of the Climate Parents Group.
I thank you for that.
Yes, yes. In 2022, the Board of Education unanimously adopted a climate change action plan. Since then, staff have been excellent at implementing the plan. The plan has 8 key action areas, and many of which do not just benefit the environment, but also provide financial benefits to PGCPS in terms of savings on energy, fuel, and waste disposal costs. The question is, will you continue to support this important work? And 2, could we also make sure that we speak with the Board of Education work group that oversees this plan to learn more about it and to continue this excellent leadership?
Oh, the answer is yes. I mean, I know we lead the state in green schools, and I think that's a good thing. And I think whatever we can do to continue to promote a healthy world, a healthy environment, we should do so. And so I'd be in full support of those type of initiatives and continuing that work. And I thank you for your service and leadership and helping us with that.
And then one more question as we get started. Oh, I see another one just popped up, Dr. Joseph. So I will go ahead if it's okay to
Yes.
ask all of these. From D. Manigault is thanking us for this forum and then wanted to know that in addition to PGCPS schools and families continuing to experience challenges with school buses arriving late at Northwestern High School in particular, there's a continued concern about the safety of students who walk or rely on public transportation and have to cross the intersection of Adelphi Road and Van Buren Street. The PTSA has been in touch with the Department of Public Works and Transportation and Council Member Fisher's office with site visits and with contacting those offices. The PTSA has also been working, but has been unsuccessful in getting any status updates. So they are asking if there's anything that your office plans to do to help with this particular challenge that they're having in that community.
Yes, well, this is the first time I've heard of it, but I've only been in office maybe about eight actual physical days now. But so what I would ask is if you could send an email to superintendent@pgcps.org, I will follow up and I can communicate with board member Pamela Boozer Struther on that, and we can at least keep you updated on where things are on it. And as it relates to transportation, we are continuing our work to modernize the district's transportation infrastructure for on-time buses and accurate parent communication. I know that there has been frustration in the community around the communication around transportation and frustration with the Stop Finder app. We're going to be piloting a new parent app called Chipmunk in the fall to see how that goes. And right now, we're going to start the pilot with our special needs students and those buses and just see how it goes. And if it goes well, we'll roll it out to the wider community later in the school year. The app will provide real-time bus location and ETA data, and hopefully that'll alleviate frustration and uncertainty among parents. One of the things that we know we have to do is communicate. I think right now, hopefully next week, I'm working with my team to put up some dashboards because one of the challenges we've had is the hiring of bus drivers. I think we have about 137 vacancies roughly for bus drivers, and that we have 1,000 buses. So the good news is the majority of bus drivers are hired, but 137 still will have impact somewhere. So one of the things we're committed to doing is communicating better as we go through. If we don't get these bus driver situations closed, then we should know what routes are impacted, and we should be able to communicate with families and talk about it much clearer and better. And we're committed to doing that. But we're also installing some tablets on more than 1,200 buses to improve our routing and our GPS. We're going to have some new bus hubs to reduce ride times and improve efficiency and on-time performance, and we'll pilot this at 3 specialty schools in the fall in partnership with the Department of Parks and Planning. Doubling transportation, we're also doubling transportation communication staff for better customer service, and we're hiring non-CDL drivers and vans on a contracted service. So these are some of the things that we're working on right now. And I can tell you that our Chief Operating Officer, Dr. Coleman, has been on it along with our Chief of Human Resources, Dr. Baldwin. I mean, if you know of anyone, I mean, I think being a bus driver is an amazing opportunity to serve and an amazing job. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur and you need great benefits, that's a great job to have. And also, if you're currently working in the system or have part-time work and is just looking for some part-time work, it's a great opportunity. I mean, I think one of the things we're working on doing is pushing out to people how great our benefits are. Because I think, the money is okay, quite frankly, right? You probably can make more money doing Uber. I get that, but Uber doesn't give benefits like Prince George's County Public Schools. And so our communications team is really going to be pushing out the opportunities, and we can help you get your CDL license, which is valuable too. So we're going to be pushing that out, and hopefully will dramatically shrink the number of vacancies we have, because we believe if we shrink vacancies, if we increase the communication with parents and have an app that actually lets you know where your children are like it's supposed to, and if we collectively work to increase communication, so when you call trying to figure out what's happening, you're not waiting for hours, and then hopefully we can improve that service. We can make things better. I'm not naive enough to think that transportation is going to be perfect when we start. I can tell you, my 16 years in Montgomery County, my years in Delaware, my years in Nashville, buses were never perfect to start, but they should get progressively better, and we should progressively be communicating effectively with you. And that's my commitment on what we're going to be working on doing at the start of this school year.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. A few more questions have come in.
Sure.
Two in particular are asking about the impact of federal budget changes. How will we respond to some of those changes? We know that some programs are being negatively impacted. What are some of our thoughts in our district about how we can mitigate the impact of those moves?
Well, thank you. Yeah, so last Friday, I was able to get on a call. It was me, our new chief of staff, Dr. Collins, and our chief financial officer, Ms. Howell. We were on a call with the state, and we were informed that we lost about 9% of our federal Title I budget. That has a significant impact. So right now, what uh, Miss Howell is doing is she's in the process right now of looking at what we had proposed spending dollars on. The good news is the previous administration had anticipated about a 20% cut in the budget that we put forth. So the good news is we over prepared for the loss of Title I dollars anyway. So we should have dollars that we can now actually appropriate that we thought we might lose when the previous administration and the board did the budget that is now in effect. So because of that good planning, I don't think we'll feel any any additional cuts in the Title I from what was already communicated in the budget process when they put that budget together. But my focus right now, quite frankly, is getting a handle on our budget to ensure it's aligned to, our priorities. And, once the board and I come together, we're going to identify and clarify what our priorities are. So I can begin asking the question, is there alignment between what we say we want to do and what we've actually budgeted for? Maryland is expected to receive about $125 million less in federal funding for specific title programs compared to last year. One of the things that we're worried about, and I was on a call this morning with an organization called PAZAM, that's the Superintendents Association, and they were giving us an update, and they were saying that we should be hearing soon about our 21st century after school grants. Right now, they're on hold. We use those funds. Those are funds usually working with a nonprofit in the school system to provide for after school activities. Those funds have been on hold. So right now, I don't know if there is an impact or not, but as soon as I know, I'll make sure I communicate. The situation is currently unfolding. We're expecting that the impact will be about 12 to 13% of our total budget. As we get more information, we'll share on that. We use a lot of our title dollars for staffing of positions at the school level. We use them for after school activities. We use them for specific intervention programs and sometimes professional development. And so when we lose them, they're felt. But we're hoping, we're hoping for the best right now. But it's right now it's an unfolding situation. Please stay attuned to board meetings, and as I get information, I'll push it out to the board, and I know the board does a great job. I know Miss Boozer Struther does a good job of communicating with you all as we gather this information.
Thank you so much. Another question from Mr. Timothy Meyer has to do, not only are we dealing with federal budget cuts, but also our state legislators in Annapolis passed blueprint cuts for fiscal year 27 and fiscal year 28. And he asked, and I think he's talking about you, Dr. Joseph, he says, how can we build a successful advocacy effort that mobilizes parents, teachers, and community members to protect PTCPS funding and get legislative wins on other PTCPS priorities?
No, that is a great question. One, I think we have to be clear about the impact of what we're losing as soon as possible, and we have to once we know the actual numbers and what the impact is, we must make sure that our legislators understand how these dollars are affecting what we could do before. I think this is why it's important, and it's one of the reasons I'm really working with you, Dr. Jackson, to get our district level parent-teacher councils back up and strong, because we're stronger when we're together and unified, and we all go down to Annapolis, and we get on the, we get on the appropriate hearings to share how the cuts have a real impact on our schools. I think, the most powerful messages or the most powerful impact we can have are the real stories of how these dollars help or hurt when we don't have them at the legislature. So I think as we get into the legislative session, as a board, as the board develops its legislative agenda, I think we will need to have meetings to help parents understand what's at stake here. I think again, hearing from parents, hearing from voters matters to our legislators. And I know the Prince George's County legislative body is very engaged and wants to hear to be able to work and advocate for us. So I think if we can get organized and communicate clearly and organized and communicate and work together collaboratively, I think we're better and stronger together. And so as we work, so please be on the lookout for Dr. Jackson's invites to come out and be informed. And you know, it's our job as a school system to equip you with the information and data. So you can, you know, come with us as we're at the legislature in this next cycle of hearings to be able to share the stories of what's happening in your specific school with these impacts. But we have to do our part for sure in getting you the information and data.
Thank you. A question from Nathalie. I would be very interested to hear about your plans, your priorities to ensure a smooth start to the school year. Can you speak to the budget situation? I think you did that already, but to talk more about the possible decline in Title I funding.
Yeah, so a couple of things. Right now, for me, what's important is that we're extremely transparent. What I know is it's difficult to manage a secret, you know, and I've said that to my team. So right now, the things that keep me up at night are first our staffing. You know, do we have teachers? Do we have special education teachers? Do we have paraeducators? Do we have our English language learner teachers and supports in place? We're going to put dashboards up within the next week or so. Those dashboards will make public where we have vacancies. And so we know what the work is, and we can be planning in advance to make sure that students enter our schools with teachers. I mean, that's really important and basic. Two, I've been working a lot again on the transportation situation and monitoring that and monitoring, you know, where we are with our transportation vacancies, what plans do we have for recruitment, and ensuring that we're good to go. And if we're not good to go, how are we going to effectively communicate with parents about what's happening so they can anticipate, make plans, and we can work together to address the challenge if that's the case, if we have to start, you know, doubling and tripling our bus routes. Next, I've been paying attention to, you know, our supplies and materials. Are they coming in on time? Are we getting them to schools so schools can be ready? Also, just basic, will schools be ready in terms of the cleanliness of the building? So we just instituted, it's been a practice that we've had a long time. We call it an open and closing meeting. It's a meeting where all of the chiefs come together about opening school and anticipating what we need to do to be ready on day one, but making sure that the buildings are cleaned, making sure that the grass is cut, you know, making sure that all of the multitude of things happen. So we've got a pretty intense meeting that happens where we're communicating and working, and I'm monitoring that weekly as we get down to the last month of school. A part of my agenda that I have weekly with the leadership of the school system is on, are there problems? How do we anticipate the problems? Will the problem be solved before school? And if not, how are we communicating? So that's what we are working on. And again, with the budget, you know, it is an ongoing, evolving, real-time situation. We just got the information about the loss in federal dollars last week for that 9%. So right now, we have the budget chief looking at what the implications are. I have not gotten a report on that yet, and we're still waiting. Some of the other dollars are on hold right now, so I don't know what the loss is and what the impact will be. So we're all kind of bracing for it, and that's the entire state is bracing. As I said today on the PAZAM meeting, they said that they felt like we should be hearing about our after school 21st century dollars and other dollars soon. On the call today, the conversation was since those um, since those funds were appropriated by Congress, they feel like they have to. People were optimistic they have to be released. They've been delayed, but they're anticipating that they should be released. And once they're released, we'll know what the impact is. But at this time, I just need more information. I mean, we're all waiting patiently.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. A question from Kamika. First of all, thank you for having this session. Her question is, what are some of your plans to make PGCPS more inclusive and accommodating for students with IEPs or individualized education programs and other special needs? Specifically, how will your administration ensure equitable access to academic resources, support services, and appropriate learning environments across all schools?
Thank you. You know, ensuring that our special education students are receiving, their accommodations and receiving a high quality education is a top priority for me. We must do better. I think we're right now. I think historically, or at least last year, we had too many vacancies in special education classrooms. And when we have a vacancy, the problems compound because you have a student who's not getting their services, their paperwork is not getting completed on time, and the problems compound. And we've got to get a handle on that. And we have an excellent head of special education in Dr. Trinell Bowman. And from day one, she and I have been meeting and talking and working and planning. And I know she has plans in place to support making sure that all of our IEPs are in compliance and working to get them in compliance as soon as possible. We've got a great team. It isn't the quality of the team, but it's targeting staffing and resources to deliver the results to our students. One of the things on those dashboards that I was telling you that I want to have up next week specifically target special education. I want to know if we have special education student vacancies, and I want to know if we have paraeducator vacancies, and we're prioritizing what are we doing to address them. That is not going silent, and it's not going unnoticed. Again, I don't believe we can manage a problem. We can manage a secret. So step one is making it transparent, so it's not a secret, so we can actually do something. The fact is, as a district, we're in state level corrective action for special education. And so I'm treating this as a system-wide accountability priority. In my last meeting that I just had with our cabinet on Tuesday, I said, we have to ensure that there is collective ownership and efforts for special education throughout this organization. I do not just expect the special education department to address our special education students. Every department must address our special education students. When we look at um, our comprehensive school improvement schools, our CSI schools, these are the schools that have underperformed for multiple years. We have 24 in our district, and 20 of these 24 schools have special education challenges. But I know our special education challenges go beyond those 24 schools. So we are making special education staffing a priority. We recently had a special education hiring event, and that was on June 16th. We have another coming on July 16th. We have another happening on July 23rd at Ellen Ochia Middle School. So we're calling out the need for special education teachers and working to get them hired as soon as possible. But of course, the challenge is there are not a lot of special education teachers available. So the recruitment effort has to be broad and targeted because we're a very large district. And so we need hundreds of teachers and supports. But I'm going to be looking at the resources that we employ. We have additional dollars, not only with the dollars we receive from the federal government to support special education, but also with our Title I dollars, our community school dollars, and then we have to look at our local budget to ensure as needs arise, we're addressing them. But one of the first people I met with in this district was Dr. Bowman to ask what supports does she need so we can coordinate our efforts to move from this corrective action, that we're currently in. I take it seriously, and it will be a school system priority to move us forward and ensure that our special education students get what they need to be able to thrive. I realize that if we can create a high sense of accountability, but couple it with high support, then we can move forward. But we will put those supports in place, and I look forward to working with the special education parent advisory that we have in the district. I actually spoke with Mrs. Bowman, Dr. Bowman today about having a meeting with that group of of families, so we can have a collective approach to supporting our students.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. At this time, we would like to defer to give you an opportunity to address our District 3 community, and then we can come back to some questions to close this out.
So you said at this time,
We would transition into your presentation. You wanted to talk about the priority areas for the
yes, yes.
It's a
So,
little-
so yeah, we can review my 100-day plan.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
Next slide. Okay. All right. So a couple things in the 100-day plan. First, so I have 6 areas. Area 1 is just about the work that the board and I need to do together. The Board of Education and I need to come together to say, so what do we want to do first, second, and third in the district? How are we communicating effectively? How are we working together to be clear about what we want to do? How are we working to be clear about what our priorities are for the district? No organization that has you can't have an organization with great vision and limited capacity. And one of the things we have to do is ensure that there is alignment between our vision and our capacity. And so because we've got limited resources, we've got to be clear about what we're going to do first, second, and third. And the board is extremely important, and a big part of their role is to set the mission, vision, core values, key performance indicators, and the budget, of the system. So, I'm looking forward to spending time with the collective board to prioritize that and communicate it to the public so you can anticipate kind of what to expect in terms of where we're going and what we're doing. And that's what priority area 1 is all about. As we go to the next slide. And next slide. And we talk about priority 2. I kind of talked about this a little bit, but it's really, we've got to make sure we are hiring. We hire over 1,000 teachers a year. That's a very huge task. And right now we have settled the teachers contract, and then we have another contract that right now, or we have a tentative agreement with teachers. Hopefully the teachers will ratify it. And we have another union contract that's in the process of being ratified. We want to get our contracts done so we can begin focusing. And, one great opportunity about being in Maryland right now is we have the blueprint for Maryland's future, but that has lots of things we need to do related to staffing, compensation, and working conditions. And so I'm making sure that there's alignment in the work, and that we're not just checking it off as a compliance document, but we're really looking at how this can help move us forward as a district. And working closely with the county executive's office and the council to ensure that we have a plan long term, that we're not being short-sighted in the work is what I'm looking at immediately. Next slide. And again, the big areas for me to focus on as I move beyond our 30 days are looking at, we know that every year we have vacancies, but I was at a fish fry last Saturday in Bowie, and I had a young lady come to me. I believe she was from Crossland High School, and she shared that she didn't have a math teacher all year, and the impact that that had. I mean, those conversations bother me, and I don't forget them, because I say to myself, what do we do if we don't have a teacher? You know, what are some alternative options we can look at? And it might be, how do we utilize our virtual school, for example, and get a certified teacher there, and have maybe somebody in class who can manage behaviors, but have a certified teacher to make sure that the student does get math instruction. So I'm thinking about those type of plans in case we don't have positions. I mean, the good news is on Tuesday, when I got the update on where we were with hiring, we were at about an 89% of our teacher vacancies have been filled. But 11% in a district of 130,000 students is still too many teachers. So we're working actively, but we're thinking of contingency plans as we go. And that's some of the work that I'm thinking about and working with right now. And some of this stuff requires conversations with our unions to sit down, because I'm thinking about, particularly, our 24 schools that are in CSI status, and then we have you know, another few dozen schools that are in the next level of intensity. I'm thinking about what can we do to recruit the best and brightest in some of our hard to fill positions. And I'm looking forward to having conversations with our unions to collaboratively come up with potential solutions to these issues. But that's the work that I've been focused on as we've been moving over the past week or two. Next slide. And as we move into the blueprint, again, the blueprint for Maryland's future, I think it's an opportunity for us to excel. I don't think people know that Prince George's County has more nationally certified teachers than almost any other district in the state. And we have one of the largest contingencies in the country. That's a good thing. That means we've got teachers who have taken the time to get extra training and prepare to be the best in class in what they do. We want to continue to push and expand those opportunities for our teachers. We also want to make sure that we're communicating. I don't know if the public knows all of the details that are in the blueprint, and the benefits that this vision has for us as a district. So I really want to push on communicating clear, and again, looking at our budgets and ensuring that our budgets are aligned. I think as a district, I think one of the challenges I see we have had, that I hope to correct this year, is we had a strategic plan that was kind of over here, and then we had the blueprint that was here. Well, I believe we should have one plan so people aren't confused, right? So we're going into a strategic planning year. Our current strategic plan is up this year. So it's a great opportunity to think about a new strategic plan that is one plan that encompasses everything we're supposed to be doing for the blueprint for Maryland's future. So, in the interim, while we're developing the plan, we'll have to identify some kind of target areas and communicate what that work is. But I hope to work on this plan to just have one plan that we can execute on, that parents understand, that schools understand, that we can budget towards, and hold ourselves accountable to say, are we making progress on these areas? One initiative that I'm immediately looking at, that I see that we have an opportunity to excel in, is the expansion of getting our kids in dual enrollment programs. I've been speaking with the county executive's office and the council about opportunities to expand, our dual enrollment work. And I also want to pay attention to our truancy. you know, 30%, a little bit over 30% of our students miss, you know, 18 or more days. That's significant. And that's something we need to have a plan for. And so, as we're thinking about our plans, those are two areas that I think we can have improvement in pretty quickly. I'm looking for the quick wins as well as the stuff that I know is just going to take us some time to work on. Next slide. You know, I started with the need for community engagement. I mean, one of the things that I'm aware of is that when parents are engaged in their child's education, kids do better. They behave in school. They put more effort in. We must get more parents actively involved, actively you know, uh, communicating with us about their experiences and in letting us know when things are going right, but also letting us know when there are challenges. I mean, we want to hear because we have to have a meaningful partnership. You know, I think an elephant in the room that I see is that we have lots of families who, for whatever reason, do not choose to send their children to Prince George's County Public Schools. And I'm a person who believes in school and parent choice and parent, you know, parents should have a choice to choose send their child to, you know, wherever they feel is going to best serve them. You know, but it is my job to make sure that Prince George's County Public Schools have great options to send your children to your local neighborhood school, and you should feel the confidence that your child is going to get a solid education there. You know, one of the things I'm thinking about because you know, in the past 10 years or so, you know, I've really been thinking a lot about the wealth disparities that we have in this country, right? That and, you know, so for families that have 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a year that they can spend on private school. You know, I make the argument if you're spending 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a year to send your child to a private school, for your child to ultimately go to some of our great Maryland schools like University of Maryland or Bowie State or Morgan State or you know Towson or some of the other great schools that we have here, or even you know Howard or you know some of these national schools that we go to. You know our kids in Prince George's County are going to those same great places, and I think we've got to do a better job of communicating how many of our kids are going to these great places and things. So, you know, because I think parents, if you had 50,000 a year that you were putting in to send your child to Bullis, and I'm not sure if Bullis is 50,000, I'm just making that up, but let's just say it was, right? 50,000 a year times 12, you're talking about $600,000 over the course of 12 years. Well, if you had put that in a mutual fund for your child with the compound interest, by the time your kid graduated from college, you'd probably be a millionaire or you'd at minimum be able to buy them a house, put down on a house, and do other things. You know, I want us to think about that seriously and ask the question, you know, isn't it worth looking at our schools once again, particularly if our schools can get you to that same destination? You know, I believe they can, and it's our job to make sure they can. But we need you. I just want parents to come and look at our schools again. I want to be able to open our schools up. If I had to give this year a theme, it would be a year of visible learning. I want people in our schools looking at what's there and making conscious decisions and talking to me about, you know, Dr. Joseph, you know, thank you, but I'm not sending my child to this school because, and I have firsthand evidence and belief, and this is why. I can respect that. You know, I think sometimes people there's an urban myth. You know, people haven't been in our schools, like they haven't seen how wonderful Mount Rainier is. And if they just walked in and saw it and saw the amazing teachers, the amazing students, the amazing programs, you know, if you saw it, you'd be surprised and be asking, now, why am I choosing not to be here? But we got to get parents back in to at least see what's there so they're actually making decisions based upon fact, not fiction. And I think that's a collective effort for those of us who are having great experiences to let people know about it. I mean, one of the things I've been speaking to our communications team about, who's doing a wonderful job, by the way, is, how do we start communicating where our students are, what they're doing, the great things that are happening in our schools. We can do a better job of at least sharing those stories, to give people the full perspective, knowing, look, everything's not perfect in Prince George's County Public Schools, but everything's not terrible either. I think we and the things that are not good, I think we need to know about. It's our job to make it better. I don't, sometimes leaders don't fix everything, but leadership should make things better, and that's what we have to be committed to, this continuous improvement. And then finally, as we talk about operations, I mean, I think operations can kill a school system. I mean, if the buses are running late, if kids aren't getting fed, if we're not buildings aren't clean, there are issues with HVAC systems. I mean, I know many of our buildings are old. And as such, we have challenges with AC and things of that nature. Well, we have to have plans to work on that stuff. And right now, in my first 100 days, what I'm working to do is just assess where we are. And one of the big things that I really want to focus on as it relates to operations in this time is looking at return on investment. We're spending money on things. Are those things we're spending money on, are they having an impact, and how do we know? That's really important for us because we've got limited resource, and we've got to make sure the resource that we have is having an impact. And I'm committed to making sure that actually happens. And there are ways we can look at that type of stuff. So that's the work that we're doing. And also, how are we utilizing technology? Again, we've got an amazing technology team, and our kids have access to, I mean, amazing technology in all of our schools. But the thing about technology is it's constantly being changed, it's constantly being updated. And are we efficient and effective and giving our kids an advantage utilizing the technology? I mean, that's the work that I'm looking at right now, as we're kicking off this first 100 days. Next slide. Yeah. So, we're moving, and what I'm committed to, you'll see when the boards, I believe that the next board meeting we have, I believe it's August 21st. At that meeting, I'll give an update on the first 30 days. Then once we get through 60 days, I'll give another update. And then when we get to 100 days, I'll give a final update, because I want the public to know that I'm doing what I said I was going to do. And if I didn't do it, I'll tell you why. But it's important to know that we're focused on focus, that our goal is to move us forward, because I believe, if there's any place where excellence should be on display for all children, it's in Prince George's County Public Schools, especially in District 3. I love all the districts, but I'm talking to District 3 tonight. So District 3, we got to see that excellence happen. Again, we're a vibrant, complex county, and I believe we can be a model of excellence, not by chance, but through commitment. And so you have my commitment in doing just that.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Joseph. Before we move to our closure, we have a few more questions for you. One is, are there any plans for public-private partnerships to channel additional resources into the school system? For instance, the Washington Commanders. And are the tax dollars earmarked for public schools from MGM National Harbor Casino? Are they being utilized appropriately?
So on the MGM dollars, I don't have an answer for that. I do believe that MGM dollars go to our county council, and there's a process for them to um, have grants for nonprofits and others for those funds, but I don't have specific details on that. I would love more private public partnerships. I'm actually working right now to engage some philanthropists about the great work and plans that we have here in Prince George's County, to see what opportunities there are for partnership. We also have a foundation, and I've had an opportunity to speak with our foundation head actually just last night. And we're what I talked to our foundation about is, I think we should be specific about what we want to fundraise for, what initiatives we should have. I think there has to be clarity there because people, philanthropists, when they give, they want to give purposefully. And I don't think being generic about what we're trying to improve and what we're trying to raise helps us. So the more specific, the more bold, and I think those philanthropic dollars should seed innovation, right? They should give us some dollars to be able to pilot something, for us to be able to test, and if it goes well, then we figure out how we put public dollars to that thing the private dollars funded and let us know was a good idea. And so we'll be working to clarify and refine areas of focus we want to work on. And then we should be actively looking for private dollars to support us in accelerating efforts for us. But right now, quite frankly, I don't think we, in general, get enough private dollars to support some of our efforts. I think the work that we're doing to get schools built faster here is a model for the nation, and I think it's a good thing. We have a number of schools that have opened, and we have some more that are opening as a result of that private-public partnership. And I think we should continue to find ways to expand those type of opportunities.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. We have introduced just last year a revised transportation plan, part of which called for more student walkers. And the question is, what more can PGCPS do to implement the county school pedestrian safety plan? How can we work collaboratively to promote events like the National Walk, Bike and Roll to School Days, or even the Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day that could make us a leader in this initiative?
Yes, I would need to get more information about what it is we're doing and what it is we would like to do. So again, please email superintendent@pgcps.org, and let's have those discussions. I just don't know enough to share more about that. But I think one of the things, another initiative that I'm focusing on for staff, but I think it's appropriate for students too, is wellness. I think we talk a lot about wellness for students, and more can be done. I mean, I am very concerned about childhood obesity, and poor nutrition for our children. And I'm also concerned about obesity and health issues for staff. And so, I've spoken to our benefits office about kicking off the school year with healthy living, initiatives for staff, but I think we can roll it down to students as well. And I would love conversations about that, because the fact is, issues of diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, cholesterol, are all solvable through walking, healthy eating, healthy living, and doing more kind of water drinking here versus, please don't open my refrigerator here with the Cokes. Forgive me. I'm going to do better with the water. But yes, but the walking, having walking initiatives, and the healthy living initiatives for students and staff are something we should be focused on. And it's something that I'd be committed to and open to partnership with.
Thank you. We have a couple more questions. One is about the student code of conduct, grading policy. What plans do you have to address that in order to make sure that we're holding students accountable for their grades, their behavior, and their attendance? Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, yeah. So, I spoke with our chief academic officer, Dr. Judy White, and I know she is going to be reaching out, engaging our union about our grading and reporting policy. So that's something we are talking about this semester. Grades have to mean something. We don't want students, I don't, I'm not one who's a fan of celebrating graduation rates. If graduation rates mean we have allowed students to leave our system and not properly educated, you know. And so grades have to mean something. And so I know when I was here actually in the 2016 school year. It was 2016 because it was right when I was leaving. You know, the a previous board and I worked to implement the current grading policy. So that was in 2016. This is 2025. So 9 years, things have changed. So it is about time to revisit our grading and reporting policy, and we got to do it in a way that gets feedback from parents, gets feedback from teachers, gets feedback from principals and students to make sense. Again, grades have to mean something. So know that this semester there'll be conversation about that, and we'll take the time we need to get the feedback we need to revise that grading policy. And as it relates to student discipline in our student handbook, I've also spoken with Dr. Liz Faison, who's over our student services, and we've been talking about, the need to make sure that schools have some type of um, behavior management plan in place that we're committing to, that we're resourcing, that we're supporting positive student behaviors. One of the things we must do is make sure that our schools are safe. And I know safety has been a concern in our district for student behaviors and so forth. I mean, the good news is we have put things in place to make sure that there's more technology. Prior to my arrival, I know that the Board of Education and previous administrations have made significant investments in technology to make sure that weapons are not in our schools. And I know we've reduced the amount of weapons that we have found in schools. And I know that we're going to continue with the clear bags, clear backpacks at the high school level to ensure that our kids are not bringing things in school that can be of danger. But so it's a combination of the technology, the monitoring, having a framework, reviewing our student handbook again, because again, if for students who demonstrate that they're going to be a danger, they should not be in our schools. I mean, I'm just strong on that. We can't. We can't accept students who come in and jeopardize the safety of teachers, our staff, or other students. Uh, you know, we have to get them the counseling and support they need, but they can't be in our schools while we're doing that too. And so I strike a balance between you know the care and understanding of a student might be having challenges and whether that student is causing a harm to himself and others. And we've just got to make sure that our schools are safe. So and some things that the board has done already that's important to note is they've made investments in mental health. The board has approved budgets that have increased counselors, psychologists, nurses, clinicians, pupil personnel workers, and school coordinators. We currently have a partnership with an entity called Hazel Health, which is virtual counseling, which is free for our students, and there's an opt-in requirement. We also have an app called Prosper for self-care. In terms of new investments, there was a $25 million grant that came out in 2024 from the Maryland Community Health Resources Commission to expand partnerships with 18 local healthcare providers. And coming soon, we're looking forward to the establishment of our school-based wellness centers, opening in partnership with Children's National Hospital. And some of the schools that we have laid out to have these programs over the next 3 years. The goal is to have them over the next 3 years district-wide, include Colin Powell Academy, Bladensburg, Fairmont Heights, Northwestern High School, which would affect District 3, and Oxon Hill High Schools, as well as Drew Freeman. Hyattsville is also planned on having that rolled out over the next 3 years. Kenmore Middle School, Sonia Sotomayor, and Walker Mill Middle Schools. With that $25 million grant, we hope to roll that out. And again, we want to be proactive, but we also have to address when we need to be reactive. And so the big thing for us is to stress and make sure our principals have what they need to keep our kids safe, working collectively with the system and with other multiple agencies. But it is a collective effort to ensure that our kids are safe. But we'll be committed to being proactive and definitely when we have to be reactive and communicative.
Thank you so very much, Interim Superintendent Dr. Sean Joseph. We have one last question, and you have actually answered all of our questions tonight, and we thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
The last question is offering additional support to our Division of Human Resources, asking what systems or additional supports could be considered to help them. They have a very tough job filling our vacancies, making sure that in this competitive environment with other districts, that they have the support to make their hiring process more efficient and responsive. Any
Yeah.
thoughts?
I would have to know more about what needs specifically would our human resources team need, in that area. To be honest, I'm not aware at this point of specific challenges. What I do know is there is a huge pressure, and we need all hands on deck to support our hiring processes. And I know that I am aware, and I did receive a human resources audit that had been done within the system. I have not completely gone through it thoroughly, but I have spoken with our Chief of Human Resources, Dr. Baldwin, about sitting down and reviewing that audit and putting that audit out into the public space and making sure we're actually executing on the recommendations from that audit for improvement. But I haven't read it thoroughly enough to speak specifically about whether it had staffing implications or issues there. We just left the budget season, and I'm one who doesn't promise or make budget changes without having fact and making sure we can fund it. And so, if there is an issue that needs to be resolved, I'm committed to looking at it and then, discussing where we can find efficiencies elsewhere to support current needs. But I would need more information and detail. So if the person who asked that question, if you have something specific that you're aware of, I would ask please just one, speak to Chief Baldwin about it, but two, you can email superintendent@pgcps.org and I can follow up.
Again, thank you so very much, Dr. Joseph. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to close with just a wonderful video from our school system. As you're watching that video, please remember to complete our evaluation for this evening's session. Again, we value your input, we value your feedback. We thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you in person when we come to your district in August or September. Those dates will be published soon, so that you can meet Superintendent House. Oh my goodness, Dr. Joseph, please forgive me.
That's all right.
Interim Superintendent Dr. Sean Joseph in person, and he will be paired with your Board of Education member as well. So please roll our video, and good night, everyone. Good night, everyone, and thank you for joining us.
Good night.
And you still have time to complete that final evaluation. Thank you. Thank you, team, for all of your support tonight.